Welcome to Linux Saloon, a place to discuss tech, open source, and where Linux is always on tap, even if sometimes frustrating. I'm Nate, Linux fitness and vintage tech enthusiast with an almost healthy obsession with the OpenSUSE project. And with me today to talk about all things Linux, distros, and applications, I've got Eric and Ben. Hopefully Jinda joins and maybe some other people. Maybe this Dark One Linux
Hopefully
is
they'll be popping in shortly, but who knows?
well, it is a beautiful Saturday here in
Hmm.
Southwest Michigan. So I don't,
And
I,
here in Kentucky, it's a freaking heat wave.
yeah, it's like upper 80s, I think, today. And actually, I like it hot.
It's 88 here, but it was like 93 if I had to guess.
Hmm.
Very
Now,
warm.
and I just want to address some real quick trolling uh,
Hmm.
in the chat. So, Dark One, yeah, you're always welcome on here, of course. And I'm running late because um, actually technical issues, which I'm very embarrassed to say, but apparently
Hmm.
something is just not quite right with my setup for doing streaming. So there's that. And Steve, my SUSE clock was right twice today. Let's put it like that.
And there's Ron. What up?
Oh, good. Ron is in the chat, and Ricky just joined. Fantastic.
Yo,
So,
Ricky.
did I ask how everyone is tonight? I think I lost my train of thought.
I think you did because we all went off in a dozen different directions.
Yeah. Well, if you have not done the straw poll yet, be sure to do so. This is a
Oh,
great straw. That's your two straw polls.
Oh,
So
and
the
Ron's gonna hang out with us. Oh boy.
so the
This will
the
be
first
interesting. Go ahead,
the
sorry.
first being what do you have a home server? And if so, what distro do you use on it? And then secondly, it's actually what do you have a home server based distro? And secondly, how do you actually utilize it? So I'll say today's just not been a good week for tech for me. I've had just a lot of things just kind of go sideways. Tonight went sideways. My Pipewire just decided it didn't want to capture streams, and I don't know why. So that's just one of those days, just one of those days. So anyway,
those days
Rick,
happen. They do
yeah,
from time to time.
and like things at work. So it was a kind of a terrible thing. Actually, let me get through the obligatory stuff first here. All right, so if you haven't done the straw poll, do the straw poll. And on the docket for today, we're gonna talk about applications, and so it's kind of an application potluck. So whatever kind of cool applications you got going, I can bring those to you. I think we're going to get an update on StormOS. Apparently, there's some exciting news. But first, what I'm doing in Linux and tech, well, I'm just gonna
Very
go ahead and
exciting news, I might say.
very excited. I can see the smiles in your face, and Ricky's in the dark, so he's probably being a little bit more um,
This is
shady.
going to be the most exciting update you guys have had in a long dang time, actually.
Well, that's fantastic. I like exciting days, exciting news. And I got Matt. Oh, it's so good to see your face, Matt. It seems like it's been, I don't know, 4 days.
No comment, Nate. No comment.
Got Jinda with us. So this week has been kind of a rough week in tech. Now, I would consider myself, I don't necessarily like to say Linux expert because as soon as I say that, something invariably goes wrong. But I knew the perfect answer to this issue at work for doing backups for this. Apparently, there's a Raspberry Pi, and what it does is every time a trucker pushes a button to scale in, not scale in, but to get into the gate, it creates an entry, and when someone punches a number, and I noticed that none of the information is being backed up properly. So I thought I'd take the time and put in, you know, install like just like sync thing, basically just to actively synchronize it, whatever. Well, then I broke the entire intercom system, couldn't get it back up, then the intercom stopped responding, and so I totally messed everything up. And so that's one thing. And it's just Raspberry Pi. It's just Debian, and so it's not like nothing should have broken just by adding something. Then I got parts to redo my Commodore 64 Imposter. Well, when I went to take off the heatsink, it ripped the CPU right out of the the thing. And
I've done that. What a terrible feeling that is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I put a new CPU in, put it all back together, and that doesn't start up at all. So I got to do some figuring out what actually failed. Did I screw up the motherboard? Did I screw up the CPU? What did I do? So anyway, I got to figure that out. I have parts, so I don't know. Anyway, this is frustrating. So just not been a good week for tech for me. And then tonight, Pipewire decides it's just not going to do what I ask it to do. And so how many times, Eric, did I have to restart
I
just now?
think it was like lucky number 5. That was
lucky number 5,
somewhere
yeah.
around there.
So maybe it's because I'm tired from all the work, the manual labor I did today. I don't know. But I got enough wood to keep my house warm for the winter if I had a fireplace. So there's that. So, Matt, I got to know. Do you ever have weeks where just nothing seems to go right?
Every week, given my job, yes. But yeah, no, I totally get what you mean. It's just one of those. It's like you finally get away from be it work or whatever stressful thing, and it's like you sit down to go do something that you enjoy, and it's broken, and you're just like, now I got to troubleshoot this thing too. And it's like just kind of that throbbing, in the brain, kind of vein pulsing out of the head. It's like, I would really like that not to happen right now. So I definitely hear you there. Yeah, it's kind of like when Arch breaks.
You're definitely not alone. The last couple of months for me have been that way for sure. My goodness.
Yeah, it's just been one thing breaking after another.
Oh my goodness, just life in general, stuff going on. Like I told somebody, I've been catching more L's than a Wealth dictionary. So it's been something. So, you gotta kind of get through that kind of, space of time. Eventually, things have a way of getting better. And then next thing you know, you're in a good zone again. That's the best thing I can say, having been through moments where it's just foolishness for a while, and then eventually things get better over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or as Steve said, Nate, as Steve said in the chat, Nate, every episode of LOL with you.
He didn't say with me. He just said every LOL.
No. I will specify with you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know. It seems like things go great, and then things just don't go great, and then slowly things get better, and then I don't know.
And it all started with your update on OpenSUSE breaking your Wi-Fi.
Which time?
The most recent one that you messaged me about.
Yeah. So that hasn't resolved, and I have not done the bug report yet because I just have not had the time. And I'm not updating, so I'm just kind of in this limbo right now. I mean, I guess normal people don't update multiple times a week anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And it's specifically with the Intel Wi-Fi firmware is broken, so whatever. It is what it is, I guess. It'll get straightened out at some point in time. So I got the notes together. I just got to create the bug report, and I don't know. It's just been an exhausting week too. This has just been literally between things breaking at work. I thought I would do the to try and because I do have a management position at work. I wanted to be, it's a 24-hour operation. I wanted to be there for the part of the night shift on Thursday because I want to be there for a lot of times things that are breaking are not getting reported, and so I want to be there for what's called a pass down report. And so I was just there, and then I was gonna leave early for the day as well, since I got up at like 2 o'clock in the morning to be there when I wanted to be there, and then I'm away home. I ended up having to pull off the road because the other plant was having issues, so I had to log in and then try and get one of the switches to turn on or I think a port went bad or something for the phones, and now the phones, they just stopped working. The power over Ethernet's not powering them up, nothing. And so the tech down there decided they would unplug the phone from another station and plug it in to just to check things out, and then on either phone turns on. So I don't know what's going on. Poltergeist, maybe. I don't know. Just we'll get it straightened out. It's just a matter of time, I guess. So good thing we have secondary methods of communication, for sure. But anyway, so how was your week?
For me, other than the constant heat problem, mine was fine. Did a lot of deving on my VPS for Stars Galaxies and messing around trying to get Storm OS, which Ricky and I finally got going. So, other than that, I basically had a killer week.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, as for my week, let's just say my week is basically uphill then downhill. Okay, let me just break it down for you. So about 2 days ago, I was having a phone call with my friend, and then right after I get off the phone call, my phone dies completely.
This was actually a funny story, at least not to him.
The touch screen sensor that allows me to use the touch screen, that's the sensor, and it dies completely. I can't even use the touch screen. I can't access settings. I can't do nothing. And by the way, the phone this phone I had was a Motorola E6. It was one of those cheap phones that I got when I went to Straight Talk Wireless, which now I know not to go Straight Talk Wireless, because turns out that phone, it only lasted up to 3 years, and yep. But anywho, I talked with my mother, and she helped me get a new phone. It will be here Tuesday, and the phone I chose is the brand new iPhone 15 Pro Max.
Sounds expensive.
It's normal manufacturer price expenses, but thanks to basically my mother having a 6 phone line with Spectrum, she added me onto that line, and we were able to get the phone for a cheap as hell discount. So we only have to pay like 30-something a month for it until it's fully paid off. Who knows when? But I had to make a choice. It was either between the iPhone 15 Pro Max or the new Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. So I had to choose between Android and iOS. And while I love my current Android phone, my much older phone, the Samsung Galaxy S9, which is a tank, lasted for so many years since like 2016. I use that for like Wi-Fi and stuff. It's a good phone for that. I think the iPhone is going to be a much better phone for me, since I'll be able to do a lot more with it, considering basically the biggest thing I'll be able to do with that is basically test the new iOS public beta when that thing comes out. So that's gonna be a bumpy ride for that. And not only that, I was able to choose the capacity storage for this thing when me and my mother were going for the options for it. I went 512 gigabytes of storage on that thing. So it's gonna last a long time. So
good.
I'm very excited to get this phone Tuesday.
New toys are always fun. I completely agree.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Well, if you have not done so yet, there is a couple of straw polls that we have going on about your server. And Don, I got your vote. I put it in there. So, but the straw polls are: do you run your own home server? If so, what is your server distro based on? And the second straw poll is: if you have your own home server, how do you run your services? And select multiple if it applies. So I'll go ahead and read what we got here. So some of the comments. So does Zygmunt NAS count as a server? I have an ancient, as in around from 2005 PC running. I think it's Zygmunt NAS BSD based as a file server for backups and an easy place to find movies and music files for any device on the network. I would say that counts. I mean, why wouldn't it count? I think
Anything that is hosting a process and, serving information in some way as a server.
that's what I think so too. Another comment says Proxmox host and a mix of Ubuntu and CentOS VMs. That's pretty cool. Same with Proxmox. I don't run any bare metal servers, just Proxmox and a mix of VMs. And then Don Lackland here in the chat said other Alpine Linux. And then on
I
the
picked other.
second, you picked another.
Oh, sorry.
You picked other.
I picked other as well. Yeah, I have
Okay.
a combination of a Synology NAS, and then I do run some stuff like a Plex server and stuff like that off of my desktop. So I don't have I figured, the Synology does a great job with all the file-based stuff, and it has basically an Atom processor in it, so it's not great for like transcribing videos. So that's why I have the Plex server running on my desktop instead.
Gotcha. Are your movies stored on the desktop or are they stored on the
NAS.
NAS? Okay. So then the Plex server connects to the NAS to stream movies and.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. I like that kind of trickery that you're doing. I think it's fun. All right, and then let's see. I guess I'll go over the results for that. So, do you run your own home server? 28.8% said, or 28.9 said yes, Debian, and then in number 2 position at 24%, yes, Ubuntu, and then at 11%, yes, Fedora, CentOS or Red Hat, so that family. Got 9% for other, and then a 6% for BSD, 6% for Windows, which beat out the 4.5% for OpenSUSE. Tux Penguin got 4% of the votes. Arch with 2%, and then Gentoo, a very, very brave individual, runs Gentoo for their server at 2%. So, anyway,
Oh
I think
my
that's-
word.
yeah. I mean, hey, you know what? I guess if you're gonna go nuts, go nuts, right? That's cool. Okay, and then for the second straw poll, if you have your own home server, how do you run your services? So similar applies. I've been pretty happy using Snaps on Ubuntu Server 2204. It works much better for me than the containers like Docker. They seem to be a weird science project in comparison. Okay. I use Docker on my remote server, but native packages on the local one. I don't have as much on it, and since it's just on my LAN, nor do I restart the services too often, I don't really need containers. Okay, that's fair. And then for the breakdown there, I'm gonna do one last refresh. So, number 1, native packages got 35.5%. Docker got 19%. Podman with 14.5%. Snaps got 12.5%. Other got 8%. Tux Penguin got 8%. So Tux Penguin really really making a showing this week, huh? And then Nyx got 2%. You know, with all the excitement around Nyx packages, I would think that Nyx, I should say, I would think that I kind of thought that'd be a little bit higher, but I guess not.
Could be the audience, you know.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Ooh, and a quick aside, Sean's telling me that he installed hardened steel volcano nozzles on my printer and calibrating flow, Z offset, etc. tonight. The Saloon is on in the background at the moment. That's exciting. Volcano nozzles sound intimidating and exciting all at once.
What does that mean? What are volcano nozzles?
I don't know. I'm guessing they can take
okay.
heat a lot better. I've never heard of that, but I like it. It's
I didn't
just
know
an
if it was a
exciting
brand
name.
or something.
Could be. Probably a brand, maybe.
No, I'm
I
gonna
don't know.
look.
So those here, I mean, I personally I have an OpenSUSE server, which will soon be replaced with another OpenSUSE server. I might be buying more memory for it because I have terrible co-hosts on Linux Out Loud who have helped to enable my son.
No.
Yes.
No. You can try to blame both me and Wendy. This was totally John who got the final word.
All right. So I got an old PowerEdge server, and my son liked how there were 18 slots in there, and he said, well, how much memory can this thing take? So I checked the tech reference manual, and it said, it'll take 288 gigabytes of RAM. And he says, well, can we max it out? I'm like, why? So I brought it to the Linux Out Loud crew, and they were on the side of my son and thinks I should spend the money on 288 gigs of RAM. So I don't know.
And so now we went over this. Actually, yes, I am, because I said it on the show.
Did you say 288 gigs?
Yeah, a RAM. That's how much it can take.
Good night.
What do you
What
do
kind of
with
RAM
that
is
much
it?
RAM?
I don't know, but I'm gonna set it up. It's a small form factor drives in there, so there's 8 of them. So 2.5 inch drives. So I'm gonna get 8 5 terabyte drives and put them in a RAID 6. So that'll bring me down to 30 terabytes of storage. So that'll last me a few years. If you remember, Eric, when I built my server, which is getting ready to be retired 5 years ago, that I set up at 5.5 terabytes. Like, it's gonna take me a long time to fill this up. Well, guess what?
Have you filled it up?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So
You just haven't used enough storage yet, Nate. You need more storage.
yeah. So I like to buy movies and then I rip them and put them on the server.
Mhm.
And I have like a whole I found a box of a bunch of like DVDs and such. So I have a bunch of DVDs to go through yet, but I have no more space. And then I bought Transformers Prime, the cartoon, to put on there. Also, no space for that. Okay, so Sean says the volcano hot ends have a larger melt zone. Essentially, the heat block is turned to maximize the hot end length. It's a bit old tech from the E3D, but I find it works well. So there we go. Sounds fancy anyway. So does anybody here run any servers? Besides Eric and myself? Matt, do you have a server that you run? No.
Generically, no, unless you count like a home theater PC as part of the server. But generically, most of that's local storage, so that's more. That's not NAS. That's more direct attached storage. So generically, no.
Okay, very funny. Dave Martin says, tell them to choose RAM or college tuition. So I've passed down my GI Bill to my kids since I never actually fully utilized it, and so they don't really have to worry about college. Maybe. So And Ricky or Ben, do you guys run any servers? Seems like distro developers would be all over the server game. No.
I only have my two Star Wars BPSs for my Galaxies game, and that's about as server centric as I get. So,
Okay.
I don't have any servers. I just don't have the time to manage a server. The only thing I really manage besides the machines I have here is basically a private GitLab that I use for storage. Other than that, that's pretty much it.
Okay. That's cool though. See, I wonder if Eris runs any servers. He's not here to answer that, and he didn't put an other in there. So, but okay. Well, I don't know about Jinda. He's not at his camera on. He's hiding, I guess.
Sorry, guys, no servers here.
No servers there either. Okay.
No servers. Well, I do set them up and play with them on my Raspberry Pi. Have a lot of fun with them, but then I just take them down and do another one.
Gotcha. I'm making a funny face right now because I just had a cramp. So, Eric, go ahead and chat away.
Chat away.
Yeah, something. My
Something,
face is
anything.
wincing. Anything.
Uh-oh. No, don't do
Server
that.
wise, or you can transition to applications.
So yeah.
Oh my
Well, I
gosh.
mean, so prior to having the Synology NAS, I had a Debian, an old Dell. Oh my goodness, I don't even remember what it was. Just one of those generic, like cream colored office PCs that I had gotten from work that was basically going to be thrown away. And I, reconditioned it, redid the paste on the CPU and the cooler and all that. And put, I don't know, at that point, this was probably 15 years ago, 20 years ago, close to it. Maybe it had a couple, maybe 500 gigs at the most, anyway, so I had Debian running on that, and it was so like bulletproof that I almost forgot about it most of the time. Like it was one of those things where I was using it to store data to, it was a file server for the most part. And that was one of my sort of introductions to how powerful Linux is and how reliable it is that it just, I would update it every now and then. And otherwise, it backed itself up to a secondary sort of drive setup. I had a RAID array in it, and it just ran. And then once that sort of got a little too old to maintain, I think I had it for probably 6 or 7 years. I just started looking at alternatives, and I don't know why at the time. I just there was something about Synology or just having a store-bought NAS that looked like the best option, and so that's what I ended up doing was getting that. And honestly, they're not cheap to get one and to get it started, get the drives and everything, but that thing has been running, I want to say it's 10 years at this point, very very close to it.
Wow.
If not full 10. Yeah. And it still runs as well today as it ever has. There's very little that's changed. They've updated the software over time, but it just keeps plugging along. I did get an announcement from them or a message from them saying they're going to stop supporting it. So they're not going to even issue security updates after sometime this fall. And so I will have to come up with another solution. And I think I'll probably just get either see if I can put some other OS, distro or something on that machine itself. Excuse me, or just get an enclosure that some sort of low power unit that is an enclosure that I can put something on it. I don't need it to be super powerful. It's more important for me to have longevity and reliability than it is to be like a workhorse. Because I'm more interested in it just being a NAS than a like a powerful server. But I don't know, at that time maybe I'll consider having it for Plex or for other things as well. I've been kind of thinking about trying to set up like a Nextcloud for myself, or I think it's gotten really good by now, and So yeah, I'm gonna have to do something because they're basically forcing my hand. The hardware is still good, but I think they've just said, we're not gonna. I have to wonder how many people still have that model running all these years later, and it could just be that there's so few that it's not worth their time. And I can't really begrudge them because it's not like you can just assume that a company is going to support a piece of hardware like indefinitely,
Right.
unless they position it that way, right? I mean, if they sell you something that's got some kind of lifetime, but that's definitely not the I never had to pay for updates. It was a one and done. I paid for it, and I've been getting free software updates this whole time. So I can't complain. But yeah, I'm gonna have to, and I'll do what I normally do, which is research it to death before I make a decision, and
Yeah,
then figure
I
out,
get it.
do I want to do a store-bought something? Do I want to build my own? What am I going to put on it? And then what drives are the best drives? And like it, I'll make a career out of it.
Well, I think it's pretty amazing that you got 10 years out of it. But I guess in a way, like in my mind, I think 10 years, well, that thing is going to be really old. But that was only 2014, which doesn't seem like that was that long ago.
Well, to you and I, yeah, that's true.
10 years, it's barely
Um,
broken in.
Yeah, actually, here you go. My order of Synology DS14. No, DS, what is it? I forget. Anyway, DS412 Plus, and that's from August of 2014. So it's been almost 10 years. And that's funny because they're going to stop supporting it almost 10 years to the day. Ha! Hadn't realized that. But yeah,
I mean,
it was
that's
500 it was $577 in 2014, and then I got 4 WD Red 2 terabyte NAS drives for an additional 388. So all in, it was just around like $900, or
I
just
mean,
around 1,000,
so you break that down, $100 a year.
$100 a year.
Yeah.
Not bad. And their software's pretty good. That's one of the reasons I've been happy with it, is that they have their management software, their web-based, control panel is really robust. It has a lot of capabilities. You can run Docker containers, you can do all sorts of stuff on it. It's just not super powerful. So you kind of have to measure what you're doing. But yeah, it's been in the same closet, just sort of sitting there in the back for all this time, and I certainly can't complain about that.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's a testament to no, that's BSD.
Yeah, I don't know if Synology is Linux or BSD, honestly.
It's
I'm not
BSD.
sure. Is it? Okay.
Yep. Pretty sure. So that's cool. That's really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess we should probably get on to the whole reason for tonight. Well, Linux Saloon, but the other reason, which is our application potluck. So bring some cool applications that you want to talk about. And one that I want to bring up and is it's not free, so take that for what it's worth. But I've been using this application, and I've purchased updates over the years, but it's called PDF Studio by, it's Quoppa, Qoppa. This is the first commercial application for managing PDFs or for authoring PDFs and everything else that I purchased. I first purchased it back in 2008, and I've had the upgrade license. I'd upgrade periodically. So I think I upgraded again in 2012, and I think again in 2020 or something like that. So not very often. I upgraded again this year, and they've really done a lot over the years to make this thing pretty great. It's mostly running off of Java, but it's written in Java, I should say, mostly. But it's been a great piece of software. The response from, if you have technical issues, they respond quickly, and it's really pretty great software. It's not free, but it works really great. So if you need to have more advanced PDF features for whatever reason, on some if you do some something with PDFs, like for work or whatever, that requires something a little bit beyond LibreOffice Draw, this is a great choice. I really like it. I'm really happy I purchased it, and I might be switching away from Adobe at work for the licenses, because this would be quite a bit cheaper, and the also the perpetual license, so you don't, it's not a subscription, and I think that would save us quite a lot of money. So anyway, so I thought it was pretty cool. So if you want to check that out, if you care about doing more complex things with PDFs, this is the thing. It's got built-in OCR, which is really nice, very easy to use, just kind of a click and it goes through it. It's amazing how well it works, actually. And yeah, I don't use some of I don't like build PDFs from it, but it allows you to import like Word documents, and you can add fields and everything else. So which is very handy if you have to do such things, build forms and whatnot. So that was my first application. Thought I'd share that. So you can file that in the round file, or somewhere in the back of the recesses of your mind when you have an opportunity or need such a thing. You could hop on that if that helps you. Yes, Adam. It says how the compatibility with Adobe is spot on, and you can either import or generate your own digital signatures and whatnot. It's pretty great.
That's actually one of the reasons that I have to use Windows from time to time. My wife has the full Acrobat version on her computer, and so I'll sometimes need to use her computer to do stuff, because certain PDFs like have either forms that are like a normal viewer just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know there's like Foxit maybe is one or something. I tried using that and it didn't work. It didn't have the compatibility. So this is great.
Yeah. So when I worked for our Uncle Sam, and I had to digitally sign PDFs, I used this for that. So
that's awesome. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But I don't know if like it's like every edge case if it's gonna meet that, but
sure.
But it is for everything that I've had to do, it has met that and then some. So
excellent.
Yeah. So that hopefully that helps somebody besides me, and also hopefully, but also they'll give you a free trial too. They gave me a free trial. Well, okay, they gave me 31 free trials for work. So I don't know if we're gonna use them all, but anyway. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, so their studio viewer is free,
mm-hmm.
and then they have the studio. Okay, that's kind of like Adobe was.
Yep. Now I prefer like Ocular, the built-in KD Plasma reader, because it loads instantly. But so I scan all my documents and I file them. Sometimes I'll like a batch scan of a bunch of things, and I'll use this to break it apart into individual files and then file them. And it's just been a great application over the years. So literally, I mean, I've been a user of it for 15 years now, and on Linux, and they have Windows, and they support most of the major platforms. So Windows, Mac, Linux. They don't support the Commodore 64.
Yeah.
So
great. Good call. I like that. See, that's why I like shows like this, is because I always find something new that makes my life easier.
All right, this is a recommendation from Heather. Heather's a regular in the chat. Hasn't joined us on the show yet, but maybe someday. She says Stacer. So it's a great app to help you clean up your system and see what your system is doing. So I think I first heard this one years ago, either from Matt or for you, Eric. Can't remember. Maybe both. And it is quite the nice application.
It's really good. In my honest opinion, Nate, it is the best alternative to CCleaner that I've ever used in years. I mean, yes, there's BleachBit too, but if you want an application that does some of the same things that CCleaner does, then Stacer is the right one for you. It pretty much does everything that Stacer does. I mean, everything that CCleaner does. Stacer's the best in my opinion. It's available on pretty much all major Linux distributions. It's literally everywhere.
They have on their GitHub repository, they have an RPM, a deb, and an app image. So pretty much
Sweet.
got their bases covered there.
What if it's in the OpenSUSE repositories?
And I have used it before. It's like Ricky says, got a lot of that CC cleaner vibe, where it shows you startup applications, how to clean up old logs and stuff like that, services that are running, processes. So it's a nice sort of, and it's a nice UI to sort of go through that stuff. And
Very user friendly. Very user friendly.
I'll have to check that out again. I know I had it installed on a machine for a while, and then I think, like when I went to the next machine, like the KD system something, what's it called?
Sysguard.
Yeah, system monitor.
Became system monitor.
Yeah, that one has a kind of a Stacer vibe to it. So I think they may have taken some cues from Stacer on that.
So those upgrades to the Sysguard / system monitor were because of Valve.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw out there well, we may have already talked about it before, but Mission Center is a clone of the Windows process monitor, whatever you call the
Task manager?
yeah. And so what's nice about it is that it I like that it shows like the logical cores of your system, shows CPU, and the one I really like is it shows your GPU, because like the standard system monitor for GNOME, and actually a lot of standard system monitors don't include the GPU, and so it's nice. And I also noticed that last night I had a DVD in, and so it was showing the DVD drive. So it's a very nice UI in terms of like seeing what's happening on your system instead of in terms of like performance and services and apps and stuff like that. So,
So do you have a link for that?
Yeah, it's either a flat pack or let me get I'll get a link and I'll stick it in there.
I got a spot for it right in the show notes under Stacer.
Okay, yeah, I'll stick it in there.
And then from Adam Grubbs, I like to have pull stuff out of the YouTube here. He says Vesktop, a third-party Discord client that adds a lot of good functions for Linux, including screen sharing with audio. The Flatpak is the best version of it. Now, I thought there was that we weren't. There's some sort of like you can't have third-party Discord apps or something like that. So I wasn't sure on that. Does anybody know about that? If there's like some sort of like terms of service violation if you use some third party thing?
Third party on what? I must have missed what you were saying.
Discord.
Oh.
I mean, I've heard things about the Discord TOS. On very rare occasions, I've used a third-party Discord client, and nothing has really happened to my account in any way, shape, or form that I could see. I mean, I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm just saying from my experience in using third-party Discord clients here and there, I have not seen a terms of service violation or anything like that.
Okay. Adam, well played. He says, yeah, it's technically against the terms of service, but when have Linux people cared about the rules? Yeah. Yep. That's
And
a good point.
Nate, just so people are aware, according to the Stacer GitHub, it has been an abandoned project.
Really?
Yeah.
How long since the last update?
10 months ago, but that was to the README, which literally states this project has been abandoned. There will be no further updates.
Oh, man.
And the last update was in May of 2019.
Paint me green and call me Gumby. If it still kind of works, and why not?
Well, it's an app image. There's app image. There's deb, RPM, and a snap, I think. So
that's something. Cool. All right. So I recently acquired a second Steam Deck. Not this one, but one very similar to this. And one of the things that like my youngest really likes to play is Minecraft. So I looked up how to use Minecraft on the Steam Deck, and there's been a lot of community support stuff out there. So I want to recommend. Now I like the Legacy launcher the most because it's simple and has no options, and that's the way I prefer it, other than like what Snapshot or whatever you want to use. But there's something called PolyMC. It's a Minecraft launcher for it's got a Flatpak on there, and it's great for playing games or playing Minecraft on the Steam Deck because it has those controls already sort of configured for it. So, like the back buttons and such, they do things for it as well. I can't remember what they do offhand, but one of them brings up that little extra menu, where you can see all the technical data about what's going on. And anyway, so that's pretty cool. So if you are, if that's something that would interest you, then check out PolyMC. It's there's some others out there too, but anyway, it works really well with the Steam Deck. Install the Flatpak, then you make it add the launcher to, Steam, and then it works pretty great. So, did anybody here play the Minecrafts? Mind test? No, nothing. Well, it's kind of a family favorite around
It's
here.
Ron.
What's that?
Ron joined us.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
Right.
about time, don't you think?
yeah,
I think it
it's
is.
been a
Yes.
while, yeah. We didn't
How
have
you
our
doing?
Canadian representation.
Yeah, life's just been
Represent the
pretty busy.
Saloon. How
I
you
understand.
doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you, Ben?
Looking forward to talking about some kick-ass stuff with Storm OS.
Is
know
that a
you're-
subtle hint?
No, it's not subtle at all.
It's I would say all I can say is be prepared to be amazed.
Blown away.
I'm just amazed about your tenacity and keeping at it.
Well, we're doing our best, mate, and we are keeping the arch easy dream alive.
Well, the idea of I'm glad you said you're doing your best and not you're trying, because Yoda would say about trying, right? Do or do not, there is no try.
Well, we do what we do and we push forward, and we're doing whatever we can to make Arch Linux accessible as we can. So, and because we're trying to we don't want Microsoft forcing Windows 11 people down the wrong hole, you might say. But either way, so we're doing what we can to keep the Arch Linux made easy dream going as long as it can. And
That's cool. Well, we'll definitely get to that in a little bit. So we'll do it. We'll dig deep in that in just a.
Yes, we'll do that
Yep.
here shortly. Sure.
Yep, we will. So I wanted another application suggestion or a suggestion. Another
I
application.
actually might have one when you guys get done with this. So
Okay.
whatever.
So Sean in the chat, he said he's been really impressed with the Orca slicer. The longer you use it, and it runs Doom. Not really. That's just to keep Matt from nodding off. So.
Only if we start talking about 3D printing apps and other various things, then
That
I'll
is-
start nodding off.
Orca slicer is a
Then,
great.
then it's time for me to nod off.
Okay, but it plays Doom. That should keep you engaged, right?
Which version of Doom?
The OG, of course.
Well, you have like all the open source versions too, GZ Doom and all the other fun stuff.
Yeah, I got to try those out again. Those Doom launchers, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, so I think it's worth trying again. I've been using the Prusa slicer, but I think maybe I should try this Orca slicer. I think I downloaded it, but I just haven't used it yet. So I'll be sure to get to that. So another great application. Now I don't know about you, but I like I'm becoming more or less enamored with streaming services because, like, I'll look forward to watching something like on Netflix or whatever, and then that's no longer available because some reason. So it's like I pay for the service, but it doesn't really guarantee anything really. So I like to go to the big box stores and dig around in their bin O DVDs for as long as they keep doing those. And they're not there all the time, but they're there enough. And so I take them home, and I don't have any DVD player. Well, actually, no, I do have does the PlayStation play DVDs? Does it still do that? So I guess I do have a DVD player. But anyway, I'll rip them on my server, which is actually out of space now, with Make MKV. Has anyone tried that for ripping DVDs? Yeah, so it is something you have to pay for. The software's free, but the codecs you have to pay for. So you can download that. What's that?
Actually, there's two different ways it goes about it. You have the paid version, which you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The developer also makes it a monthly key that is available if you use the beta version.
Oh.
That is available, so you can still essentially use the product for free, but you're just beta testing for them, basically.
Oh, okay.
And I think but it's actually I think it's a fair exchange because you're also reporting bugs and all that kind of jazz if you want it. But fantastic for ripping Blu-rays and stuff too, because that whole stack's still gotta get ripped.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so Make MKV, it's really good. It's really very easy front end. There's nothing you have to you don't have to dork around with it. It's just pretty much you pop in the DVD or Blu-ray, whatever, and then you can rip it. So those Blu-rays take up a lot more space than the DVDs, though. That's for sure. So
yeah, the 20 to 35 gigs, give or take, for a Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
And people want to know why I use Handbrake to convert those MKVs that I make.
Yeah, I just throw them in as they are. The yeah, so we got, I think it was a few months ago, I bought the Spider-Man, all the Spider dudes movies from the original. No, I shouldn't say the original ones. Who's it? Peter the Peter Parker, that
the Sam Raimi ones, like the early 2000s. Is that what you're talking about?
What was the I don't know.
Peter,
it's like Spider-Man. I can't remember the actor's name.
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, that one. The Tobey Maguire
which
ones.
Would have been which would have been the Sam Raimi directed movies.
Oh, okay. Yep. So I like the Tobey Maguire version's the best. That's the others are okay, but the one that has the with the Doctor Stranger, whatever his name, Stranger Danger.
Tom Holland.
Yeah, that one was pretty good too. It was a little bit of, I think some of the character, that Spider-Man's a little bit annoying compared to the Tobey Maguire, but whatever. It's like too enthusiastic, I think. But that's just me. So anyway, if you want to own your own movies and whatnot, Make MKV works really well for that. So
agreed. I know I've been on that getting tired of halfway through a series, Nate, and oh hey look, it's no longer available. It's like, oh, wonderful.
Well, I wanted to watch, so I do subscribe to Paramount Plus because I'm a fan of Star Trek, and I wanted to watch the movies with my kids, and I thought, well, I'll just put on Paramount Plus. They're not on there.
So they're not available.
You would think they would be.
You would think.
But they're not. So anyway, very disappointing. So actually, what I ended up doing is because I don't have the movies on DVD, so I whipped out the VHS player and we watched them that way.
That's funny. I have an old VCR in my closet, and I look at it every now and then. I'm like, I should just pull it out and hook it up. And we've got a box of VHS tapes. I haven't played it in I don't even know how long. I wonder if any of it even works still, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, the quality is definitely not great. So, but hey, you know, when it was 1996 and you wanted to watch, you know, The Undiscovered Country, it's not too bad. So Adam Grubbs, he's got another great suggestion. He says, fairly obscure app that's a bit of a hidden gem is Google Chrome. Great browser, highly recommended. So thanks, Adam. Do you have a link to that Google Chrome? I've heard of it, I think.
youaretheproduct.com.
Yes. And then Adam goes on and says, nothing beats getting a random VHS tape from the flea market with Arabic subtitles and an inkjet printed label. I got DVDs like that some 20 years ago. Still have them. I wonder if they still work.
My wife got a copy of Rango like that, and we started watching it, and I went, something's not right here. It was one of those, someone had a camcorder in the theater copies.
Did the head walk in front? Did you see that?
Yeah.
Those? Yeah, those are hilarious.
One of the camera, what were those used to be called? I don't even remember anymore, but like the camcorder videos. Oh man, those are so bad.
The audio is terrible. Yeah, I bought a lot of movies like that because it was the only choice I had when I was overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, some were just almost unwatchable, but it's like I literally have nothing else to do right now. I could read a book, but I do not want to read a book. So, I guess that makes me a loser. All right, another application, and maybe I brought this one up before, but if outside of Steam, there's not really been a great launcher until the Heroic Game Launcher. So I don't know. I highly recommend this. Is if you have like GOG or Amazon Gaming, or there's another one, I think Epic, you can play like the games in a nice interface. You know, very very friendly. You got all like your shelves of games and whatnot, and then it's a super easy play and go. I'm amazed by how easy it is to play the old DOS games from yesteryear that I enjoyed, like Descent Free Space or Star Trek Starfleet Academy that I bought on GOG with the Heroic Game Launcher. Just literally just install it that way, and then you can do tweaks if necessary on there as well. But it's such a nice way to play those old games. So if you want to check that out, the Heroic Game Launcher, highly recommend. I know Matt prefers the terminal only way, I think.
No, I appreciate the work they do in Legendary, but no, I do not. Thank you. I prefer the pointy clicky GUI part of it as opposed to the terminal version. Thanks.
So one of the things, like they do the, if you click on the game, they have like a nice like background for it and everything. It looks like a professional product. Like this is it's on par with Steam as far as like usability and everything. In some ways, actually, it might be a little bit better. It has a bit of a cleaner interface, I would say.
Yeah, I would say the interface is cleaner and it pulls in certain things that I do find interesting, like the how long to beat stuff, like how long a game will take you roughly to get to completion and stuff. So like there's certain little elements like that are kind of cool that Steam doesn't have. It ties into like OpenCritic as opposed to Metacritic, which there's a whole one's an actual aggregator, one uses weighted review scores and all as an aggregator, and I'll leave it at that. But yeah, I like Heroic. It's as much as I like Mini Galaxy for native gaming, Linux gaming. I think Heroic is a better catch-all than always recommending Lutris, which I love the work the Lutris folks do, but when you're introducing Windows apps into Linux and it's not natively built for it, updates break things. At least when it's a native app, it breaks. It's probably an API usually.
Now, I will say Lutris is better probably for things like if you want to pull in all your like really old games, like your retro games and such. It's a good.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a good like that's more like along the lines of a game history preservation application more than it is a a game launcher, I would say. So if you want to like,
Well, I was gonna say my problem with it is people will recommend it for like things that have native solutions already.
Mhm.
Like if you have native solutions, don't square peg round hole thing. Like that it just don't work. And you're introducing too many headaches that a potential new user is not going to care to argue with about. Oh well, it's an update for Windows, so it broke the install script because of some random Windows DLL that it connected to. You know, all these other things. Whereas if it's a native app, at least you know it's a native app essentially, and it's being developed on the platform you actually use. But
Yep.
Lutris is great for outside things like Blizzard, Blizzard, Activision, you know, all those outside things that generically get used. I think it's great for though. I'm just more about putting the right solution to the right kind of problem.
There's actually a lot of cross pollination between the Lutris and Heroic as well.
As there should
those
be.
those guys work together. I got to meet them when I was at Ubuntu Summit back in November, and those are really really cool dudes too. And you know, Glorious Egg Roll, he does the GE Proton versions that you can also pull into Heroic Game Launcher. That takes care of any of the cutscene videos that tend to break on some of that stuff. So.
Yep.
So anyway, check that out, Heroic Game Launcher. If you have any if you have any games you want to play, you know, like from a store like GOG or Epic or Amazon. So there's a key too. You brought that up, Matt. I don't want to launch Heroic right now because everything's working. I want to make sure I don't disrupt anything. But I installed. They have some free games from Amazon that gives you a key to GOG to have it parent party library. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, if you are a Prime member, for those that are, there's Prime Gaming. Lately, they've been linking to a lot of GOG specific games. So they will give you a GOG key. So which means therefore you can actually quote unquote own it digitally as much as you can own stuff digitally. So yeah, it's a nice little thing to have.
Yeah. Then another application is pretty cool. It's another one you don't have to buy, but I bought it because I like to support commercial Linux software. You know, it's kind of maybe like keep them doing it. So something from SoftMaker Office. It's a pretty nice Office suite. And also it is more tolerant to the fractional scaling than LibreOffice. So their GUI implementation works really well. There's a couple things that don't work on it, which is weird, that LibreOffice just does better. But for the most part, it works better than, I should say, visually it looks really good. It's a lot like using Microsoft Office as far as the user experience is concerned. And I actually purchased it because they sent me some sort of a really good deal in the email I should say. And it says you can buy it for it was like $7 or something like that. So I did. I thought, you know what, I'll go ahead and buy this for $7 because, you know, and then you get the Linux download, and so you know that there's cheapskates running Linux that will purchase your software. So anyway, so yeah. SoftMaker Office is pretty good. I give it, I would say, maybe not 4 out of 5 stars. We'll say that, 4 out of 5 stars. I still think Microsoft Office is probably the best Office application out there, as much as it hurts me to say that. But it just, I don't know, Excel is just an amazing piece of software. It really is.
So Microsoft got something right? Or 1/3 out of their Office suite is right?
I would say Microsoft Excel is literally an app. It's like an amazing launch title for a console from 10 years ago, whatever. It is like the killer app. There's something about Microsoft Excel with their built-in Visual Basic and everything, all the other little lickies and chewies that they put in it. Nothing else has that same kind of functionality. So yeah, it's just what it is. So Sleep Advent said, I heard someone call out a cheapskate, so I'm here. Or here I am. Yep, well, that's also me. But we're
It's
brothers.
also
so.
Michael. In fairness, it's also Michael.
Mike Chilson says, hi, everyone. Hello, Michael. Or Mike.
And actually, Nate, an app that I want to kind of recommend is if you're looking for like an Adobe Lightroom with commercial support. Corel Aftershock Pro 3 actually gives you commercial support on Linux for Aor Lightroom alternatives.
Really?
So if you need it does. For those that don't know, it's the old, I believe it was called Bibble Pro, was the old software before they got out by Corel. But it is Linux supported. So one of the few apps that Corel puts out that still has Linux support. So nice little app if you want commercial support and Darktable and what's the other one that Wendy uses? Raw Therapy. Don't quite do it for you. Definitely a nice little app to have. It's not super expensive. I mean, like right now, I think the upgrade is like $40, and I think the actual package, like full download, is like 60. But I know they had it on Humble Bundle a while ago, and I bought it key for it for $1. So, like, when you can get it, I would highly recommend it just to show that you actually support commercial products, like you were mentioning, Nate.
Well, cool. So it's on Amazon. How do you purchase it?
You can go right to Corel.com and go to click on Aftershock Pro 3.
Are they? Is support for Linux going to continue, or is it kind of one of those things where
It's supported. I know I've gotten re-downloadable links and other stuff from before when I need to re-download the stuff. So the cool thing is they do give you a free, I think the trial's a fully functional 30 days too. So it's basically platform agnostic for the most part.
they have WordPerfect? I didn't know WordPerfect was still a thing.
Yeah. How any of those run on Proton or whatever version you're thinking of trying, Nate, I have no idea, but
Oh, they're not Linux. They don't have a Linux app.
yeah, no, I was gonna say they don't actually have Linux. That is the only Linux app that I'm aware of that they make. And still
okay.
support.
Okay. So Aftershock Pro. Okay.
And if somebody wants a free version that probably doesn't get a lot of love, there is one called Light Zone, which is also in similar vein, but it is a free and open source version that actually was commercial at one point, and then it got open sourced. So, but for those that don't like Java, probably not recommended because it's Java based.
Interesting. They have a 30-day trial too. Might not be bad. Download a trial. I can do that now, but I might give that a whirl just to see. It's an after shot, not shock. I don't listen very well. So put that in the show notes.
I'm not shocked that you don't listen very well, Nate.
Does anybody here do anything with electronics? Ron seems like a guy that would burn himself with a soldering iron.
Never.
Never? Oh. Okay, well.
Yeah, I do. I do play with semiconductors and some passive stuff, transformers, inductors.
So sometimes if you ever like get a resistor and it's been a while, like I don't look at resistors all the time. I used to have everything memorized, back in my college days. But I don't use them all the time, and so I got a little cheater application called G Resistor. It is I think at least OpenSUSE I know has it available. I don't know if am I running a flat pack on it? I don't remember. See, there's a flat pack or as a native apps, or you can install. It's a Python app anyway. But it's a really neat little application. You can select what the bands are, the colors, and then it'll tell you what it is. And so it's really nice for if you have just a stray resistor, you got to figure out what it is, then you can just punch it into this and you're good to go. So if you do anything with electronics, G resistor, great application. It's not very pretty, but it works pretty darn well. So
I like it.
yeah. And then Mike Chilson says, have any of you looked at Zim Desktop Wiki? I really like it because it's lightweight and simple note taker and is open source. I've not looked at it, but I've heard about it. I think there was something that I looked at it and did I install it even? Maybe not. I thought I looked at it and I don't recall why I didn't end up using it. But maybe I should look at it again. So Zim Wiki seems like something worth looking at. I need something that'll replace OneNote because I'm really getting frustrated with OneNote. It's hard to like look at multiple things and compare because it's just the way the user interface isn't conducive to the way I think, and so I need something a little bit more flexible. So maybe ZimWiki might be the thing.
When you say OneNote, do you mean OneNote plus plus?
Like no, OneNote as in the Microsoft thing.
Ah.
So Mike Chilson also says, I've been using Obsidian, but I'm thinking about moving to it. So Mike, if you could do me a favor and check those out and tell me what you think, because I've looked at Obsidian as well, but I didn't jump into that one either. I've been using TiddlyWiki for most of my personal stuff, but sometimes it's not as easy. Like I like how OneNote I can more free flow throw things together, so I can I put like a picture of like an IDF cabinet, and I would identify what everything was on that. It was really easy to do that, and I couldn't do that in TiddlyWiki. So just for like creating notebooks, that helps me to better manage my equipment, essentially is what I want. So maybe Adam's got something groovy.
I don't know. I kind of feel like with Node apps, once you find something that just you feel like you can use, I've spent more time researching and testing Node apps than I think just about any other category of application. And I always just seem to gravitate back to the one that I'm using because it's the one I know.
Which
it's
is
the one where all my stuff is already. I use Joplin most of the time.
Is Joplin allow you to free flow information as far as like?
It's a lot like Evernote. It's pretty close to something like Evernote. There's like notebooks and then notes inside of it, and there's a bunch of extensions you can add on to like extend the functionality. I mainly like it because it's Markdown based.
Mm-hmm.
We should take a poll. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ron. Go ahead, Ron.
I was going to say we should take a poll. Whenever you hear the utterance Joplin, does Janice pop in to your head? I don't know.
I think it probably did at first, but now my association is so much with that application that like probably not anymore.
Yeah.
You don't think about Janice when you hear Joplin?
Yeah.
The young ones are probably going, huh? What?
What?
Cruise?
Huh?
Ooh.
What? Listen here, old man. So Donald McCann says, I'll check out LogSec. I'll look at that one too. I know Michael Vash, he used LogSec, I think, and also I watch his Obsidian video as well. So I want something that's local, that I can synchronize the way I want to synchronize it, and then not have to. I don't want to fight with it. I just want something simple that I don't have to fight with. That's what it boils down to. Ooh, project managers. Oh golly, this actually might be the. Yeah, I have to look. I have to check out Michael Bash's videos again. Maybe he's he did a bunch of really cool things as far as that's concerned. I gotta check it out. I need some better project management stuff as well. There's just some big projects going on, and I take notes. And I've been using OneNote, but it's just the way it puts things together is just sloppy, and I got to spend a lot of extra time cutting and pasting and moving, and it's just not. I don't know, just not working for me. Just not working for me right now.
Myself, I
So-
liked Kanban board based stuff.
Okay.
I mean, notes is notes. I mean, you have to put together information for, projects and stuff. But in terms of like seeing where you are and like being able to just have a layout, like a visual representation of different sort of steps and stops within a process, like I like Kanban stuff because it's just literally like, you know, planning phase started or in progress, held for whatever reason. And you can make up your own silos. Um, but then just having within the notes being able to like put in information, those are the ones that I tend to gravitate towards because they're simpler than something that can become a little too big, like a little too grandiose. And simple is better in a
Mhm.
lot of ways. And you can always link to a wiki or something from within, a task or something like that. So, um, yeah, those have always kind of been the best ones that I
And
enjoy using.
what have you used as a Kanban?
I'm actually trying to look it up now because I forget what the service is.
I was actually even looking in the Microsoft Office 365 tenant thing to see if they had like a Kanban thing for SharePoint, but it's been discontinued, which surprises me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think they got bought by like maybe Atlassian or something. Trello, that's the one I use.
Trello?
Yeah. Yeah, Atlassian bought them, but I still have access to. I haven't used it in a little while. It's been a while, but yeah, that's the thing I like about it is that uh, it's just if you're more of a visual thinker, which I tend to be more so, um, it helps me break down tasks. So like I do ideas where it's like things that I want to do in the future that I think might be cool to like add. And a lot of this is based on like doing websites. So like, ideas is sort of a capture point for just see things I see somewhere or things that interest me or, that might work well here. I just kind of capture it as an idea. And then I have a to do, which is like things that I need to do. I have a doing, which is the stuff that I'm actually working on currently. And then I have a done, which is like an archive of the things. And then I'll sometimes also add a hold or, excuse me, something that can't move forward. But the nice thing about, excuse me, Trello in particular is that they let you, they give you a lot for free, first of all, which is nice. But then secondarily, uh, it's just enough information. Like when you go through and you look, like you have activity and you can add notes and tasks, and there's lots of different ways to sort of, um, label things and like you can attach dates and due dates and attachments and like all sorts of it's really well thought out. It's been in a product for a long time. Trello's been around for quite a while. And so especially when you're brainstorming, I think it just helps to be able to just put stuff in especially in the UI because it just makes it super fast to just add stuff. And then to like literally drag and drop stuff around and organize. And so from like a visual planning standpoint, like that's been a really big advantage for me. And then you can share it with team members and, you know, other stakeholders and assign tasks to different people. And you could really get pretty in depth with it. And yeah, so Trello is it's owned by Atlassian now, but it's the same basic product it's been for a long time.
So I looked up alternatives. There's 5 open source alternatives to Trello.
And, sure. There's tons. Yeah.
So Taiga, Taiga, Taiga. It allows you to import Trello projects even. Then there's Canboard, which is Kanban. Wekan, I guess, Wekan, or Wekan. I don't know.
Mhm.
formerly known as Libre board. Libre.
Mm-hmm.
Restia board. It's says it attempts to pick up where Trello stops and extend the features set a bit. And then task board. So I'm gonna check those out because I think something like that would be good. I don't know if
I think if you just pick a little project, right? Something that you're trying to plan out. Even if it was something like around your house, or if you wanted to relate it to work, whatever. But just sort of pick and see how it helps you brainstorm, because that's really what it helps me with. And the other thing is a mind map. If you've ever used mind maps,
oh yeah,
mind maps help me immensely, to be able to just connect things and just get thoughts out, right? And that's what's important, is to get it all out, put it somewhere where you can just look at it visually, and then be able to like reassign and reorganize. And so my mind maps, and then by extension, I think Kanban boards work pretty well with that.
this might make for a good future application appetizer to maybe talk about different project management tools.
Yeah.
Give some time to dig into that. So a month from now, put that on your calendar, or I'll put it on mine anyway. Let's talk about these project management apps. See how they compare. Oh, cool. Then I have one other application that I think it was Sean who recommended it to me, and it was OnCell. It's like a polished FreeCAD. It's a lot of the irritating bits of FreeCAD if you're doing CAD applications, CAD tasks. So you can design something. I actually just used it recently, so I'm going to be running some Cat 5, or Ethernet, I should say. It's actually Cat 6 now. Run some Ethernet down in Cubicle Labs. Going to put some access points. And I didn't want to zip tie everything together, so I made little clips I put over these. They're like, it's part of like the structural rebar that used to so the building doesn't, when they're building it, so it doesn't fall over. And so I made little clips so I can run the Ethernet like little J hooks of sorts across there. So I put two sides, and it's just it's being able to design and print something to solve a problem is pretty great. I mean, I could have probably just taken some wire and bent it, but of course I'm going to probably scratch myself on it at some point in time. So this is more convenient. It's got like a little, so it clips on, and it's got two channels, one on either side, so I can run stuff, down either side of it. I don't need that much, but that's how I designed it. And yeah, it's working pretty well. I got just installed all of them today. I haven't run the Ethernet yet, but I will be doing that over the course of the next week. So I would say look out for a video or article on that, but I probably won't do it because there are boxes there, and I don't want people to see how sloppy my storage area is. So anyway, well, excellent. So it's 21:35. So well, thank you very much for those applications. I don't know if there's anything else that anybody wanted to bring up here before we move on to. Oh, Mike Chilson also says he meant to say free office instead of open office. Check out free office. But anyway, if you have any other applications you want to bring up, you can do so now. If not, we can move on. So next week is a distro exploration, and I was thinking about trying some sort of BSD. I don't think we've done that in a while. We've been talking about a lot of Linux distributions, and I don't know. What do you think about
I have
any?
a suggestion for one.
Okay, what is your suggestion?
Ghost BSD.
Ghost BSD. What makes Ghost BSD great besides the name?
It's graphical by default, and it has a GUI installer, and it also has a GUI updater, and a lot of easy to newbie BSD things that help make it, I would say, kind of the Linux Mint version of BSD, in my opinion. So
I like it.
That is, I'll drop the link in Telegram whenever the show ends and that kind of thing.
Well, Jin, to beat
Yeah,
you
I
to it.
think. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
That was it.
Oh, I just want to say that I'm pretty sure Mate is still the desktop that they've defaulted to.
Yeah, there's also
And-
XFCE edition, but that's
Yeah.
that's
Has a special place in my heart because the main dev is from Nova Scotia. So,
Oh, well, there we go.
hey,
He's,
And it's
all the reasons to try it, right?
That's right.
So
It's gonna be a very polite, the most polite BSD you can ever try.
yeah, I would say so. Yeah. And,
All right,
I've
let's do
ran-
Ghost
I've ran
BSD.
it up.
And so I
It's
think
a-
to
sorry, I was
try it
saying-
out, I think we should what things I want you to like to experiment with is,
Mhm.
can you install the applications that you want? How many hurdles does it take to do the things you want to do in an operating system, but in BSD? And then I don't know if, since it is a desktop, I don't know if it's fair to evaluate it in the same way as Linux necessarily, or Windows, because BSD doesn't have quite the application and feature sets as what Linux has now.
Well, all I can say is we will see people's reactions
Mm-hmm.
and just
Yeah.
take it from there.
Yep.
And,
It's interesting.
Yep, but
But-
if I may add one little thing, there is a major difference between Linux repositories and BSD repositories. BSD repositories normally 95% of the time have some of the same apps that Linux do, but the other time they don't. So don't expect to find OBS or something extremely popular in BSD. You're not going to find it.
No. It's, like he said, the FreeBSD or any BSD repositories, which goes BSD, is built from FreeBSD. So, it doesn't have the Linux applications fully covered. So I'm just going to warn you guys right now. If you put this on a Broadcom AC-based laptop, don't expect it to work. And NVIDIA is there to a degree, but don't expect it to be as compatible in general, hardware-wise, NVIDIA or not, with most of the stuff that Linux is. It's just not a thing.
At least until the new NVIDIA Node driver comes out that Red Hat is working on.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that NVIDIA will get better. It's just we gotta wait, as always. So,
Well, if you're running Linux, it's not because you want to run a well-polished product, I think.
it'll a well-powered product. No, yeah.
I think
Go ahead, Nate.
I think BSD is actually an interesting. So when I think back on BSD or think back on early days of Linux, like I actually would use Linux and BSD somewhat. I mean, they basically were on very similar footing, like 15, 20 years ago. Like there really wasn't that huge of a chasm between them. And it's an interesting study on a community and developers and like focus on a particular platform or kernel, I guess, in this case, and how so many developers gravitated towards Linux, and here we are all these years later, and I mean we can see how much easier Linux is to use, how much more advanced it is, how much polish there is, and all of that. And BSD really just hasn't benefited from a lot of that. I mean, it's still an excellent server-based distro. Yes, you can use it a desktop operating system, but to their point, like you just don't have the same experience, quite frankly. You don't have the same like level of hardware support. You don't have the same level of software compatibility. So, but back then, it was basically the same in many, many ways, and it's just gotten further and further apart since then. So
the last time I used it was about a year and a half back, and it was on a ThinkPad. No surprise there, and no NVIDIA in sight. It was just Intel video, and the wireless was Intel also. and no surprises. All the apps that I needed were there. The usual Office packages, media playback. The only thing missing was TLP to massage some extra life out of my battery. And that was the only shortcoming, really. Yeah.
Well, it'll be fun to play with. I've got a test
I
machine.
think so.
And so Ghost BSD it is. I've never tried Ghost BSD. Hopefully it's not too scary. And we'll see how it goes. Hello, Steve.
Hello.
Nice to see your
Can
face.
you guys hear me?
No, I can't hear you at all.
Can you hear?
Nope.
Can't hear at
Nope.
all.
Nope, not at all. Not a bit. I'm kidding.
No, I can't hear.
You sound a little echoey, but you're fine. So
Okay,
all
I
right.
got my Bluetooth headset.
All right. So if you have any suggestions for any topics or distributions, can be anything for like the straw polls, applications, any suggestions whatsoever, send them to suggestions@linuxsaloon.com. I'd appreciate hearing anything, or you can hit me up on Telegram. I try to be on Discord, but like it doesn't work well for me. I think I might try maybe another way of using Discord, even if it violates terms of service. Because like I'll get a message from Ricky and then I won't see it for a couple days, so I apologize, Ricky, in front of everybody. I'm apologizing. So something about Discord just doesn't work well for me, and I think it's a me problem, and I need to find a better way of doing it.
If I may just give you a little tip, Nate, if you need something that's just as good as Discord, but a little different, look into element.io. It's a GUI matrix client, and it pretty much does a lot of the same things that Discord does.
Yeah, well, it's staying in contact with people on Discord is the challenge. I have no problem running the I run Shildy chat. Like Matrix works a lot easier for me than Discord. Just more consistent. So, but Discord should technically be better, I think. But I don't know. It just doesn't. I just have such a hard time with Discord. So it's a me problem.
I have the same issue. I have a hard time, but not necessarily the same issue, I guess. My biggest problem is I'm logged in. I would do my settings for light, follow my computer's theme, which is light theme. Every time I turn off the machine, turn back on, and I'm logged in, still it defaults to dark. So I have to go through the settings every time I go to Discord to reset it. I don't know why. I submitted a support thing, never got a response. I didn't care that much, but yeah.
Well, I don't.
Weird.
For me, it logs me out. Then I have to make effort to log back in, and then it's like going to the DMV to get a new license plate every time. It feels like so for me, and I don't get notifications, or the notifications are weird, or just anyway. So it's just a frustrating platform for me. But anyway, so yeah, you can hit me up on Discord too, and I will try and get back to you. Or Eris. Okay, so I do want to get to some exciting news. Community free pour from Storm OS. So I don't know what's going on here. Apparently you've cracked the code and are now doing great things.
Well, I'll let Ben speak in just a minute, but let me tell you something. So this is what's been going on. So yesterday, basically, Ben and me sat down and we spun out a new ISO, well, a testing ISO, just for the team. There's no public alpha yet, but it'll be coming down the pipeline at some point. But I was testing this ISO myself yesterday morning, and for some unknown reason, and I don't know why, but the Calamaris installer would not show up. It wouldn't boot. It wouldn't start. It wouldn't do nothing. So I got with Ben, told him the issue, and well, lo and behold, he told me exactly what had happened. So Ben, tell them what the problem was.
It was a QT6 GTK2 problem. It was out of date, and also we had to recompile Yay, and then we had to recompile Calamares. So yeah, basically 3 or 4 packages had to be recompiled for it to get fixed. So what we're doing right now is we're rebuilding the ISO again in order to fix these issues system wide. So this should be fixed after the show, and then we will be uploading the ISO to my public Google Drive for all of us to test internally, and then we will hopefully by next week's show have a ISO for for the public, and we'll take it from there.
Yep, it's basically for the entire team. It's basically been trial and error, but we're getting closer. So cross your fingers that tonight's the night we actually make progress.
Yes, that's what we're hoping for at least. And right now we don't have a
Don't have
yeah. We'll hopefully have tonight will be the last night of internal testing, and then we can move to public testing and increase from there.
So when you said you recompile, are you compiling to get GTK2 out of the picture?
No, Ron. What it is
I'm dumb as a stump. So
what we're doing is Qt6 GTK2 is only it's the new package that allows Qt themes to actually work properly on the it allows Qt applications to work on GTK desktops is what it does. Yes. And that is something that we use in order to theme like Calamares and different Qt apps like VLC, MPV, and all these different things that we have in the system for, for example, MPV is needed as a backend for our buddy Seeker's custom screen recorder that we've included, for example. So, because we have certain Qt apps like that as dependencies for certain things that we include, we have to have that package.
Gotcha.
So,
cool.
Another little thing I do want to bring to your attention, Nate, is we were experimenting with a possible LFS version. However, me and Ben got to thinking, and we decided that since we were running too many difficulties with it, getting the thing up and running, we've decided that we are going to basically halt that version and refocus back on our original plan, which is to have one version being Arch, which is going to be the main version of Storm OS, and the secondary version is going to be based off of Benny Boy's favorite distro, Gentoo.
Gentoo, yes. Because, and here's the reason why, Gentoo is.
Do you wear burlap and beat yourself with switches?
Well,
he's from Kentucky.
Flagellation. Here we come.
Well. Here's the thing, calculate is good and all that, but we wanted to, have something a little bit more, not necessarily. How can I put this, Ricky?
Not necessarily advanced user completely, but basically something in the middle, basically.
Yeah, not totally advanced, but something like a middleman. Something like, not necessarily for newbies, but not necessarily for total big boys in Linux. We want to have something kind of like a middle ground, so to speak. So, they want to. It's kind of like an intermediate distro. So
yeah.
So we're making Gentoo easier, but not for total newbies, so to speak.
But they have a lot of pre-built binaries now in Gen 2, don't they? Like you, like,
Yes,
it's
they
a-
do.
Yeah.
I mean, and
uh,
also for the Chromium lovers out there, my buddy from the Gen 2 Discord, Imolo, has told me that they are working on a Chromium binary at last. So you don't have to have
really?
no, yes. So you heard it right, folks. And Ricky, I know you're gonna love that. So you no longer have to download Calculate to use a Chromium bin package on Gen 2 anymore.
Did they say like how? Did he say like how long it was going to take them to
No,
get?
no. Well, it is in active development. I don't know if it's hit the testing repos yet, but it should be uh it should be done soon, but don't hold me to that because, basically I have to check it actively. And also for you Wayland lovers out there, uh you will be getting soon through the Mate overlay a Wayland version of Mate with very, very soon. So
Well,
yeah.
fantastic. Well, that's pretty
Yes.
exciting stuff.
And also KDE6, I don't know if it's moved out of testing in Gen 2 yet, but we will be probably doing KDE6 on our Gen 2 version probably. So yes, Nate's favorite desktop is going to be included on our Gen 2 ISO probably. So
I do
Yep.
like Plasma. Not gonna lie.
yes, so Plasma 6 getting the Gen 2 love from Ben and Ricky.
Yep.
Excellent.
All right, guys. Well, I know it's 5 minutes till wrap up, so we'll
We're done.
put the lid on this until next week, probably after the Ghost BSD thingy. So,
All right. Well, sounds good. Well, I'm excited to hear your successes. If
yes,
nothing
and
else,
hopefully we'll have a success story for you guys next
if
week.
no, if nothing else, the amount that you are learning just by doing this is
Yes.
absolutely invaluable. So
Yes, it's very valuable, and that's why we do it, for the learning and for the community. So,
yeah, that is fantastic.
all right.
Well, good deal. Well, it is that time for last call. And Eric, you said you still do Distro Hoppers Digest. What was the last thing that you digested about?
I did Bluefin for episode 53, which I've been trying to get edited, but Audacity decided to make it difficult for me this week. So still not quite done editing it yet. But yeah, I covered Bluefin, which is a atomic or composable distro, and interesting. I can see a lot of promise in it, but I had some issues with it. So probably one of my longest and most verbose reviews. But yeah, so that should be out hopefully next week. And yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it does seem like Immutable is like where everything is skating toward. I don't know if it's guaranteed.
I think it's going to be
the
part.
thing.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be part of, it's going to be another alternative. And honestly, based on what I'm seeing from that and other distros I've tried, I do think that it can be a good way to run a system. They're just going to have to come up with better ways to deal with those exceptions that aren't a flat pack or that aren't something you can run in user space, something that has to be sitting closer to the, to the main install itself. So, DistroBox is neat. It kind of helps, but it's not like, the magic solution to all problems. But I can see that once they overcome some of these challenges, like if they could have a snapshot based immutable system that I can put, basically use just like I use a computer now, I would love to do something like that because it just makes it essentially bulletproof. Like
Right.
if you mess it up, like you've used in OpenSUSE for years. If you update to a new snapshot and it doesn't work, then roll back and get on with your life.
To me, that, yeah, I like the more customizable way of doing things than what the Immutable offers. But I think that, for like an enterprise environment, it seems like, when you buy the same kind of machine anyway, it seems like that would be the best way to deploy it, because then you could have everybody's machine would be the same, would have the same image, same stack of applications potentially, and could be done on a single script. But
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, it's getting there.
Yeah. So Steve, you like to stream on Sundays? Is that still happening?
Yes, it is.
And you're streaming tomorrow?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. No. Yeah, I'm streaming tomorrow. 8:30 a.m. Central. Just continuing with some cool OBS stuff. Fine-tune some cool scenes that I have set up. So we'll look at that. And yeah, just chat. So if anybody wants to, join on voice in the Discord forum, I know Discord is not the choice here, but if you like
It should be,
chatting,
though.
just join me in Discord too.
Yeah. Well, cool. I will definitely be there to troll you initially, at least. So.
Sounds like a plan, mate.
It's what I enjoy. Well, excellent. So Linux User Space they're on break now, but you can check out their 20th episode of Season 4. It's out now for your listening pleasure, so check that out. I'm on a podcast called Linux Out Loud. In fact, one of my co-hosts, Matt, joined us tonight for a little while. We talked about all kinds of fun things, and one of those being hardware and building a server essentially. So that was fun. So you can check out Linux Out Loud. I have a website called cubiclenate.com. I write things. I just did an article on putting OpenSUSE on a Chromebook. So check that out. It's there. So Saloon is part of the Tux Digital Network. Check out more great shows at tuxdigital.com. I thank you all for your support. However you do it, being a part of the conversation in both the Zoom meeting as well as the YouTube chat, or the YouTube stream, as well as everyone for watching the show after the fact. I want to thank you all. I want to thank everyone involved in making Linux and open source tools possible for us to not only have this conversation, but to have fun and enjoy our technology. Linux truly puts personal back into personal computers. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tip your developers, and please remember to Linux or BSD responsibly. Until next time, see yous.
Bye, everybody.